Hello viewers, this is Major General Neelendra Kumar for the YouTube channel Lex Consilium Foundation and for the playlist Inse Miliye. A great pleasure for me to speak to Dr. Arghya Sengupta. He is the founder of Vidhi Centre for Legal Policy, located here in Defence Colony, Delhi, and an institution widely known and respected for the work that it has done. He has also taught at the Pembroke College in Oxford on administrative law. He is associated here with India Justice Report right from its first edition, and he looks at, amongst other things, one of the 5 parameters, really, that is judiciary. And in judiciary, both the higher judiciary, the constitutional court, but more the lower or the subordinate judiciary that has attracted his attention. He has looked at its capacity, and he made it clear that he is not looking at quality, but I think when you look at capacity, so there you do form an impression that within the capacity, how many are the competent judges and how many are not so competent. So with that, I would like to ask you, for the viewers would be interested in knowing that these 5 reports that have come out, the 5th one today, how do you see that your focus, your lens on judiciary, does it give you a sense of despondency, or you are hopeful that things and your report, your findings, suggestions would make a change? What is your first take on this?
Thank you so much for having me. Okay. My first take generally on any matter is one of optimism.
Okay.
And that is because I think that the situation in India, as far as the Indian judiciary is concerned,
yes,
is so unfortunate that I think there is only one way that we can go, that is up.
We can go up.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but you're absolutely right that there is a great sense of despondency that we have at this point of time, because the judiciary continues to remain slow.
Okay. The
judiciary continues to remain under-resourced and under-capacitated. And
you said slow, yes, under-capacity and
under-resourced.
Okay.
So let me talk about each of these 3.
Yes.
The first is that in terms of money, yes, that is allocated to the judiciary. Now here actually the government in a centrally sponsored scheme has allocated close to 9,000 crores for judicial infrastructure. I'm only taking one example. And we see there that there are certain states that are doing very well in terms of utilizing that for building courtrooms and court halls. So they have spent, like Maharashtra is a good example, they have spent all the money that has been given. Yes. But most states are laggards, that though the money has been allocated, we find that in some cases more than 50% of that money is unutilized.
It's so not even within the poverty, there are wise, if I can say, or competent poor.
Absolutely.
And some of those were
absolutely.
Not.
And in this case, Maharashtra actually is, I wouldn't even call it poor, because the fact is that it is using that money, it is building good court halls, its infrastructure is improving. So there is so that is only on the point of resources. So I think resources, the big picture is there is enough money. The judiciary needs to do better in spending it. Secondly, on capacity, I think this is a question in relation to the key issue that comes up all the time, is one of vacancies. That there are too many vacancies that exist at the subordinate judiciary level, that judge positions are not being filled. Now here there is some room for hope. We have found in the trends over the course of the last 5 years that, except for 1 year in the middle, that most courts are heading in the right direction in terms of filling up its vacancies. So the vacancy number is slowly but surely
being addressed.
Slowly, it could be addressed much better, but it is being addressed a little bit. So I think that's the second. As far as slow is concerned, I think this is the unfortunate truth in the Indian judiciary, that the process is the punishment. That if someone is unfortunate enough to be caught in a court process, then you know that it goes on for so long that it takes that it sometimes even takes a lifetime. And I think there we have found that there is improvement in training that is happening with judges. There are steps that the various high courts have been taking to try and ensure that there is technology usage at the right places to ensure that the process moves faster. There is much more that we can do, but I think that generally we are heading in the right direction.
Okay. Now, say with regard to, this is just a question that comes to my mind. If we look at the executive side, civil services, so the performance in filling up vacancies, because the vacancies can be predicted,
Absolutely.
that's not at all difficult. So, is the stance as lethargic on that side for the civil services, Union Public Service Commission, State Public Service Commission, or on the judicial side it is slow? I say that because the filling up of vacancies is mainly in the hands of all the high courts.
That's right.
And high courts are basically not trained
That's absolutely
to
correct.
undertake this
So you
work.
hit the nail on the head. So
Yes.
as in if you were to look at it in terms of who is more active,
Yes.
I think generally speaking the executive is more active in filling up posts in a quicker way than the judiciary is. I mean, as a general
Yes.
matter. I mean,
Yes.
there are exceptions here or
Yes.
there. And I think you've hit the nail on the head, because at the end of the day the administrative responsibility of filling up vacancies in the subordinate judiciary is given to the high court.
Yes.
And the high court, the judges are trained as judges. They are
Yes.
not trained as administrators.
Yes.
Then if we look at the registry of the high court, and this is across the board in high courts, the registry of the high court led by a registrar general, these are all district judges.
Yes.
They are also not trained administrators. So they also don't have the thinking, the training to be able to, as you said, anticipate the vacancy, to be able to conduct that process, to be able to fill
Yes.
it up in good time. So this is not in the India Justice Report, because the India Justice Report is a mirror. It's a mirror on the justice system. But if I were to put on my hat of how would we reform it,
Yes.
I would say that we need to professionalize the registries of the high courts. It is unfair to expect district judges to do this. They are not trained to do this. But it is a large, in that sense, it's like a large organization which has to be managed. So we need to have professional managers in order to manage the caseload, in order to manage what this
Yes.
is, which is an HR question. It is an HR
Yes,
question in
yes.
terms of how do you fill up your human resources. So we need to think about every high court, and I'm saying this provocatively, to have its own CEO.
Do you think a guidance or a note nudging from Supreme Court would help in mitigate this situation in any way?
It will certainly help, but I think the Supreme Court will require some convincing.
Okay,
Right.
right. That's fine. Now we come to, while we are at the capacity of the judiciary, the representation of the women or the marginalized section. What is your first reaction or take in that regard?
Much better in the lower courts than in
Yes.
the higher courts. So I think there is a continuing prevalence of a glass ceiling. So if you see that wherever, I'll give you a very simple answer here, wherever it is merit based, women do better.
Yes.
Wherever it is appointment or nomination based, the
Yes.
men win.
Okay.
Short point, without
Yes.
getting into too much detail. And as far as the marginalized sections are concerned, I said again, where we see that there are reservations that exist, and they exist of course
Okay.
across the board, where they are doing well in filling up these vacancies. Some states are doing better than others, but there is a long way to go.
Okay. Thank you. We would end this session here, but be with us. This would continue.
Thank you.